Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Highlands Performance Golf Center, North Dallas's premier golf practice facility with over 65 grass tees, 2 practice putting surfaces, a short game area, and an 18-hole mini golf course. With covered and heated tees, it's the best place to practice your game year-round. The Highlands Performance Golf Center is located in Carrollton on Trinity Mills, in between Marsh and Midway. Give them a call at 972-733-4111 or check them out on the web at highlandspgc.com. Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of From the Rough, America's favorite golf podcast. Live from the DSP Media Podcast Studios, I am IndyCarTim. I am joined via remote satellite via the miracle of the internet by PGA of America member, live from Austin, by the way.
That's right.
Johnny Gerber. Hello, Johnny. How are you?
I'm a little tired, buddy. I'm a little tired. I feel like I was out there playing this week out down here in Austin. Great opportunity to come down here and cover this match play for us, FanStream Sports, and also for Golf Central Magazine. So great experience. Got thrown into the wolves a little bit the last few days. A little bit with the weather. Yeah, a little bit with the weather and things like that. But listen, man, this is kind of where we're going to be probably progressing going on with all of our shows and things like that. So listen, blessed opportunity. I don't think I embarrassed ourselves too much this week being down there in Austin. They only kicked me out of like one place, I think, when I tried to go through. So
just one?
That's it. That's good. That's good for us. I mean,
that's amazing.
Hey, good opportunity, and we got a lot of good stories and a lot of good things to talk about with the world of golf down there in Austin.
So let's jump right into it. We will talk about the Corrales here after the break, after we get through with the WGC-Dell match play. Things going on. They're already happening. Guys are already out down there in Austin as the world's top 64 players. I mean, not the world's top 64s, but pretty close, right?
Yeah, I mean,
match play.
It's not really the rankings because they're a little bit skewed because, there was 2 guys like we talked about last week with on Monday with Justin Rose not playing and JT not playing, and also kind of the defections from some of the guys that live. But there was a few guys that surprised me that were in the field that I didn't really know that they were in the top 60, like Davis Thompson, right? He surprised me a little bit, and there was just a couple other guys that surprised me when they were on the range and hitting balls that were in the field. So yeah, a little surprising, and they hold Davis Thompson didn't really hold his own very well. But there was a couple other guys, it's first time in this match play, that held their ground pretty well.
So it is the WGC-Dell Technologies match play down at Austin Country Club, par 71, 7,108 yards, a $20 million purse. And, man, how many of these match play things do we have every year? 2, 3? We have 3?
We have one in terms of, and this is going to be the last year for the match play, right?
Yeah.
And they're not going to have it. I firmly believe they're going to get it back on the schedule after.
They have to.
After this year. It's probably not going to be down here at Austin Country Club. But, they have the World Match Play, the European kind of DP World Tour style of it over in Wentworth. They have that. And then obviously with either the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup every other year that they have. So minimum around the world, they have a couple. But, it's a great format. There's not too many. Most of these guys love it, right? They like coming the match play format. Especially a little bit of the Americans, the European guys, they play a little bit more match play growing up. And that's why potentially they have so much success in the Ryder Cup. But I think these guys, and they really like this. And the majority of guys I talked to this week in the interviews and stuff, they were a little bit disappointed that this event's going away. And I firmly believe that's going to be back on the schedule next year.
And it's always one of my I love watching match play golf. It's a little different than what we're used to seeing every week, and I know the guys enjoy it, the players enjoy it. What's the reason for them wanting to get away from it?
It just the schedule, it fits pretty bad, and they losing the sponsorship, and with the changing of, the elevated field events, it just really didn't fit, when it comes to something like that. The elevated field events kind of put this out of the equation, and, it just didn't really fit. So I firmly believe after they figure out the elevated schedule scenarios, it's going to be back on the schedule. They may move it to a different time. I wouldn't mind, to be honest with you, I wouldn't mind seeing it a little bit maybe in the fall, to maybe potentially get ready for either the President's Cup,
Right.
And or the Ryder Cup, to try to get these guys' mentality ready for that type of competition, because it's polar opposite than a stroke field event.
It is. It's completely different to watch. It's a different mentality for the players.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what makes it so enjoyable to watch, and it's got to be what makes it so enjoyable for the players is just they're mixing it up. It's not the same thing that they played last week that they're going to play next week. You're more focused on a hole by hole instead of your total score. And we talked about some of the matchups before we came on the air. And there's probably guys that are shooting over par here. They're going to win their match, even though they're not playing well. You just got to play better than the guy you're paired with. And that's a completely different mentality for these guys.
Yeah. And it's, you said it right. I mean, you could shoot over par, and win a match, and you could shoot 5. I mean, we've had a lot of those scenarios today. You look at a guy like, we really touted Sepp Straka, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of these guys that had some pretty good interventions and dialogue with, and watch him on the range the last couple of days, is that, Sepp Straka played really solid today, and I touted him. I told you last night, man, watch out for this guy. The guy shot 3 under par and got smoked. Tony Finau was 7 under par after 14 holes. I'm sorry, Corey Connors Corey Connors. And in the same way with Tony Finau, with Christian Bezuidenhout that we touted, that we really liked. I mean, Christian Bezuidenhout didn't make a bogey. Tony Finau didn't make a bogey, but Tony made 7 birdies and made 6 birdies in a row.
Yeah.
And then you look at a situation like that. The guy is 3 or 4 down in the match. Then he's got to start pressing, right? He's got to catch up because he's running out of holes. It's just not. He doesn't have 3 more rounds of golf to catch up. So, you're looking at just the mentality is so much different, man, and that's a little bit of the cool part. But it's just kind of really cool.
So let's talk about some of the matchups that we've got here. That see how many groups we have left on the course. Not a bunch. We've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess 10 pairs on the course still. But let's start from those that teed off this morning. You had JJ Spaun 5-3 over Matt Fitzpatrick. Did you see any of these guys earlier in the week when you were there?
Yeah, I saw them all. And, the cool part is, I got there pretty early the last couple of days to kind of my little deal is I like to watch these guys. And, with being fortunate with the access that I have, I was right there in their face, right on the range. I mean, I was literally 10.
Sure,
10
they
yards
appreciated that.
Well, yeah, they a couple of them got a little soft eye on me, a little crazy eyes. Like, what is this guy doing? I felt every once in a while I want to go out there and hit balls, because a few of those guys, I'm pretty sure I could hit it better than them. But I'm still friends with a couple of those guys, especially the caddies. So I that's a little bit of the challenge, right? These guys are there working, and they're not there to socialize. So that little balance for me was something new that I had to really learn and kind of step back when I need to step back. But I'll learn as I continue to go through this over the next few months, being the reporter for us on FanStream Sports. But man, I mean, Matthew Fitzpatrick, as well as he's been playing, the guy won the U.S. Amateur.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a match play guy. So I think he might have been battling a little bit of injuries. And to be honest with you, I didn't see JJ Spaun the last 2 days. So he was a little bit of a ghost. And that's maybe a good sign, right? I'm always a little bit cautious of these guys that are on the range hitting golf balls that have all these gadgets and working on something and got TrackMan, as opposed to the guys that are just kind of warming up and know their game is in a solid spot, and they don't have all their coaches around, things like that. And there was a lot of coaches there just this week. So I kind of leaned away from the guys that had all their coaches and had all the gadgets on them, and kind of played a little bit more to the guys that felt free and were just out there warming up and felt good about the game.
Sahith Theegala loses to Minwoo Lee 1-up. Not a lot I didn't think going on in that pairing, but one of them I wanted to talk about was Xander Schauffele 4-3 over Cam Davis. That was kind of a surprise to me.
Yeah, it wasn't really a surprise. Cam Davis hasn't really had good form this year. I know he's battled a few injuries, but Xander Schauffele, he didn't do anything special, right? I mean, he didn't go out there and tear it up. He wasn't hitting it great on the driving range. The guy, if you take the guy to Cedar Point, he's going to be checked on to see if he's tall enough to get on the rides, right? So he's not a big guy by any means, but he's one of those guys, pound for pound, that hits it pretty good. He's not quite like Rory, and I want to talk a little bit about Rory maybe a little bit further on in the show. But yeah, he didn't. I don't think Schauffele did anything special. He just kept it in front of him, knowing Cam Davis just made some mistakes early, and Xander Schauffele just kind of plodded around.
Ben Griffin 3-1 over Terrell Hatton. No surprise for me there. Lucas Herbert 1-up over Russell Henley. Let's get into Rory a little bit as he wins 3-1 over Scott Stallings. What did you see out of Rory today?
Let me go back a little bit. You weren't surprised about Terrell Hatton. I mean, the guy's a Ryder Cup stalwart. I mean, he's great in match play. And you look at a guy like Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin only gets in. Ben Griffin and Davis. That's another guy that was new. I'm going to tell you this right now. Ben Griffin, when I watched him on the driving range yesterday, he was a deer in headlights. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this guy with Terrell Hatton, as a bulldog as he is, as experience that he has in Ryder Cup, I thought Ben Griffin was going to get smoked. And that's the biggest upset on the board because Terrell Hatton was like plus 225. I mean, minus 225 on the board to win that. And Ben Griffin, and the funny part, I don't know if you watched the telecast, when Ben beat him on the 17th hole, he was like, he almost was like, I can't really believe I just beat this guy.
Yeah, but Ben's been playing really, really well and really confidently the last couple of weeks. And I just, to me, on the board, it's a shocker because I know what the odds were, as you pointed out. But to me, it just wasn't that much of a surprise. I thought Ben Griffin's going to play well this weekend, and I'm looking for more out of him as much as I did today.
See, I'm going to go the opposite way with you, to be honest with you. I think that
You always do.
Well, that's why I usually win and you usually lose.
It's true.
Right?
True story.
No, but it was that one shocked me, really. It did. It really shocked me. But going back to Rory, we took Scott Stallings. Scott Stallings over Rory only because of the number, right? Mm-hmm. Scott Stallings was plus 220 or 220 to win that match. He wasn't really playing well, but I didn't really like. I'll say this. Watching Rory yesterday, and this is going to be two parts, and we can get into it a little bit now, or we can get into it at the end of the show. But I wasn't really impressed how Rory was hitting his irons and wedges yesterday, especially his wedges, because if we get into the technical as a golf pro part of it, his flights on his wedges I didn't really like. But I will tell you this, how he drives the golf ball, and you can hear it by the tour players will tell you this all the time. When Rory drives the golf ball, he's the best driver in the world. He's the best driver of the golf ball that's ever. And I saw it, and it was different. It didn't really catch me with his irons, but how he drove the golf ball on the driving range, it was like ultra impressive. But that wasn't the most impressive thing about Rory McIlroy that I've encountered in the last couple of days. So we can talk about it now. We can talk about it later.
Let's get through all the matchups here, and then we can go back to Rory before the break. We'll talk about Bradley McCarthy during your picks. Same thing with Bazay and Hoot.
Denny.
Keegan Bradley and Denny McCarthy.
Yeah.
What I meant. And then Tony Finau and Christian Bazay and Hoot. We'll talk a little bit about them. Kurt Kitayama loses to Adrian Meronk 2-1.
No surprise.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Now, Putnam 3-2 over Will Zalatoris was a little bit of a shock to me.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Putnam. I'm actually friends with Putnam. He plays in the same tournament that I played in over years in that Pebble Beach event. So I had some really good conversations with Andrew. He's a good guy. But he's that guy that is just not going to make mistakes. And I think Zalatoris, he hasn't really been playing well. This is fourth start for the year. He's kind of that risk and reward type of guy. they were, you talk about two contrasting styles and match play, you got it. And, sometimes, at this point, the tortoise beat the hare, if that's the easy way to say it. And he just didn't make mistakes, and he just let Will Zalatoris make the mistakes, and he did.
Jordan Spieth over Mackenzie Hughes, 4-3.
No surprise.
No surprise there, right? Yeah, that wasn't a big deal. I'm just trying to hit some of these big names before we get into your picks before the breakers, since we're trying to cover 2 tournaments here in the hour. We're going to be strapped a little bit for time. Taylor Montgomery, 2-1 over Shane Lowry. I just finished watching that one a little bit ago. Lowry was not hitting the ball well today. It didn't look like, at least on TV.
But you're going to – I'm going to tell you this right now. Taylor Montgomery is the next superstar on the PGA Tour. And we've talked about him before, and we've had him in a lot of our picks. But seeing him up close and personal, and watching him hit golf balls, and watching his short game, he's a big guy. He's a big guy. And man, I just really like the way he carried himself. I like the way his demeanor was. He has all the attributes of being the next superstar on the PGA Tour.
And then before we get into your picks, the other one I wanted to talk about, because this is my guy that I picked to win the whole thing, Max Homa, 3-2 over Justin Suh.
Yeah, Justin Suh got over his skis, right? I mean, He hit it terrible on the range. He didn't play very well. Max Homa's the guy, just not making mistakes. Again, he's in that category, kind of like Andrew Putnam. Max Homa's not going to beat himself. And, to be honest with you, you look at a guy like, Justin Suh, you look at a guy like Davis Thompson, you look at Ben Griffin, those are guys that probably should be playing in
Dominican Republic.
Yeah, Dominican. I'm being serious.
I know.
Justin Suh was just over his, like I said, he was over his skis, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you look at a guy, Justin Suh, it's his 5th PGA Tour, man. How does he jump up in the rankings so far to be in that? He's not the top 60 players in the world. He's super talented. Listen, so is Davis Thompson, but they're not the best 64 players on the PGA in the world. They're just not.
So I know you didn't have the best day today in your matchup picks, and you didn't pick an outright winner and all that like I did. I picked an outright winner. I picked who I thought would be a contender, and then I picked a ham sandwich.
Good.
Unfortunately, my ham sandwich was Adam Hadwin at 80-1, who's out today. But my contender is still in. Jason Day at 33-1. And of course, Max Homa, 20-1 was my outright winner. I still think he's got a really good chance, especially considering some of these other guys that are out already.
Yep.
But let's get into some of your matchups that you had coming into the day. These are from late last night. We just got them up this morning for everybody. But why don't you kind of give us an idea of what happened here?
Yeah, you're looking at Tom Hoge there. That was a really close match. I really watched Aaron Wise yesterday on the range. He had a little two-way miss, so I kind of faded him a little bit. I was kind of telling everybody fading his ball striking wasn't off the driver that I didn't really like as a guy that kind of can watch some golf swings. So I didn't really like him. And that match came down to the wire. Tom Hoge didn't really play very well, to be honest with you. He was a favorite just because the situation Aaron Wise was. So we did lose that. Scott Stallings was that was one of those wild card picks, right? It was just something that I thought Stallings can get it hot. He just got down early to Rory, and Rory just has the ability to kind of dominate that place, and he did once he got hot. I mean, he kind of toyed with him a little bit. A little bad luck with Denny McCarthy, man. This guy just disappoints me all the time. Best putter in the world.
Man, he does.
He lost the last 5 holes to push the match to Keegan Bradley and a guy that's been sick. And I found out in the presser yesterday, he was sick last week. He was supposed to play at Valspar, but he didn't play. You had that kind of question why he didn't play, but he was sick last week, so he had to withdraw. So there we go. I thought that would kind of hinder him a little bit, especially at Austin Country Club, which is a tough place to kind of walk. And I thought his energy would be a little bit down. Thank God it wasn't hot. If it was hot, he'd have really struggled. But that was a push. But Zayden Hoyt again, he just caught a buzzsaw with Tony Finau. He was plus 145. Tony was just hot, didn't make any mistakes, didn't make a bogey, and made 7 birdies, man. And it's just, sometimes you beat yourself and sometimes you just get beat. And Bezuidenhout just got beat. He didn't play bad. He didn't play, he didn't play great. But
sometimes
I think he was
when
like
there's only one pickle in the pickle jar, you just got to eat that pickle.
Oh,
that's true too.
That is true. Very true. He just got beat, man. To be honest with you, he got beat to a guy that just beat him. Same way. Well, I don't want to say the same way with Straka, but Corey Connors just got. I mean, the guy just got crazy. The guy didn't even look like he was going to make a mistake. Like he hit every fairway, he hit every green, made putts, and I'm not. I mean, Sepp Straka. We touted him all week. I'm telling you guys right now. Straka, watching him on the driving range, he's the best ball striker, like from woods to wedges, everything that I've seen in a long, long, long time. And he's a big guy that can. He just, man, he got a little bit behind the 8 ball. Didn't really make mistakes, man. But Corey Connors birdied the first 4 out of 5 holes. Sepp Straka was down, and then towards the end, he kind of pressed a little bit. He won a couple holes there on closing in the back 9, but was still 3 down on the back 9. Made a mistake on 11 that kind of got him 4 down, and he pressed. So, he did get boat raced, but I'm looking for Sepp Straka, as good as he's hitting it, to have a little bounce back day tomorrow. We'll see what his matchup is. And then Sam Burns minus 120 over Adam Hadwin. We told you yesterday, Joey Cruz is a good friend of mine. I talked to him yesterday. Watched Adam hit a lot of balls yesterday, and I just didn't like what he was trying to work on. And we talked about that yesterday. I mean, Sam Burns, I don't think Sam Burns played great, but I just think Adam Hadwin wasn't hitting good enough with the firepower for Sam Burns. And I talked to both of them. The coincidence that Sam Burns is caddy, Travis Perkins is a friend, and then Joey Cruz is a friend. So it was a thing that I watched. I kind of followed them around most of the day. And Adam just, after having a bad performance last week at Valspar, missing the cut, I just don't think his confidence was good coming into the week.
No, probably not. And there were some other guys here that I wanted to talk a little bit about before we get into the break. Guys still out on the course right now. And one that's kind of surprised me, Matt Kuchar's up 2 up over Victor Hovland through 12. Yeah. Hovland, again, man, he's just struggling with the short game. He's missing putts. There's been some I was watching part of this as they were covering it earlier. I mean, he's missing putts that other guys are making from twice the distance on the same line. And he just kind of, and he's showing frustration too, which is tough to watch. But man, they say, youth is lost on the young, but dude, Matt Kuchar out there showing them how it's done in Austin right now.
You would be surprised. And I forgot how big of a guy Matt Kuchar is. He's a big dude. And, Father Time's catching up with him a little bit. He's got, he kind of looks like you. He's bald headed and got a little bit of belly, man, kind of strutting around that thing. And, the cool part about Kuchar is, what the hell's that guy got to lose? He hit 20 golf balls yesterday on the driving range, chipped and putted a little bit, and went out there and played golf, right? So, and then you're looking at a guy like Victor Hovland, and what's the common denominator you have with Hovland? He chips it bad around Pete Dye golf courses because it's hard to chip around there. And that's kind of his nemesis is chipping. And it showed. I mean, it showed around those greens. He's had a lot of 5 or 6 footers for par that he's missed the green. And some of those holes that he's hitting driver like 12 and 13, some of those places he can get easy, but he's missing the green a little bit. He's not getting it up and down. Because it's hard to chip around Pete Dye golf course. You saw it at Sawgrass. I mean, you've seen these things with Victor Hovland. It's got better, but it's not really the way for a world-class player like he is, because I tell you what, he hits it awful good, and he's chipping around there. But Kuchar, what the hell's Kuchar got to lose? He's going down the 6th Street tonight and have our 5th Street or 6th Street, whatever them streets are.
6th Street.
And also, he's gonna have a little good time tonight. And if he wins or lose, he's waiting for the Champions Tour, and hey, good for him.
Yeah, and I think he'll do well on the Champions Tour. JT Poston 3 up over Tommy Fleetwood through 12.
There's a surprise.
Yeah, I thought Tommy Fleetwood for sure. I mean, there's still a chance, but thought for sure he'd come out of that pairing. And then maybe surprising to me, through 11, Scotty Scheffler's only up 2 on Davis Riley. he won 11, so he was only up 1. He won 2, 4, and 5. So he was 3 up. Riley won 6 and 9 to take it down to just 1, and then Scotty Scheffler just won on 11 to go back to 2 up.
It surprised me a little. Actually, that we talked about off air that I picked a couple extra matches at the end here. Yeah. Tom Kim, and I actually took Davis Riley. That's my guy. That Davis Riley's my guy. He's really good in match. But you're looking at battle of 2 U.S. juniors, right? 2 U.S. junior amateur champions. Match play format. Maybe it's good for Davis Riley to be in this match play format because he's really struggled with the stroke play format, trying to catch up a little bit, making enough birdies to kind of get the lead. But he's steadying the shit, man. And I talked to Davis yesterday on the range. He has no flaws, right? He just doesn't have any flaws in his golf game, and he's going to be real steady. And it didn't surprise me. He was plus 230 on this match. And I said, man, I got to throw just a little bit on him to maybe knock off Scotty Scheffler. But Scotty's just dominating so much. He's playing so well. He's got so much confidence. But Davis Riley's holding his own. And listen, Davis Riley's not scared of Scotty Scheffler. I mean, they've known each other since they were probably 10 years old. So there's not an intimidation factor when it comes to that. So, no surprise. I don't know if he's going to pull it out, but Davis Riley's not going to make a ton of birdies, but he's not going to beat himself also.
And then the last pairing out there through 11, also Tom Kim won up on Alex Noren.
Yeah, I told you yesterday, fade Alex Noren. I watched him scull 3 chips on the chipping green yesterday, and that's not good.
Mm-mm.
That's
like me out there, right?
Yeah, well, but let's just say yes. Yeah,
that's what I was going for. That's what I was going for.
Just say yes. And obviously Tom Kim, people are going to be cheering for him, but I told everybody fade Alex Noren just because I watched how his short game was. And that was an even matchup, believe it or not. So I thought there was some advantage for Tom Kim.
We're going to take a quick break here on From the Rough on FanStream Sports, and we're going to come back on the other side, talk a little about some Corrales down there in the Dominican Republic. We both have our picks for that. We'll talk about the course a little bit, some of the conditions, and the guys to look out for right here on FanStream Sports, and we'll be right back.
Hello, sports fans. FanStream Sports.
Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan, but he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy, and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashland Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa.
Coming back at you. Now, more FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to From the Rough on FanStream Sports. I'm IndyCarTim, live from the FanStream Sports studios in Dallas, and joining me remotely from Austin at the WGC-Dell Technologies, John Gerber, PGA of America member John Gerber, inside the ropes down there here this weekend to give us the insights and the outsights and lots of information on what's happening.
A lot of sites in Austin. A lot of sites. I tell you, I don't come down here very often. I come down here to play in a charity celebrity golf event, and so I don't get down here often. And everyone kept telling me, "Oh, the weather's usually not like this." But I'm gonna tell you something real quick. The weather could be hot. You all can have this traffic here in Austin. I do not need this.
I tried to warn you.
Listen, man. I love Texas and I love living in Dallas but y'all can have this Austin traffic because it's as bad as it took me. So I kind of stayed a little bit outside of the golf course because I just kind of want to get some work done and kind of broadcast there, come back. But I'm 18 miles away from the facility, and it took me an hour and 15 minutes with no it's not even rush hour to get back to the hotel. So, Austin, y'all can keep it weird, whatever y'all's motto is, but y'all can keep this traffic down here too, because I don't need it.
I mean, there's a reason I don't get down to Austin or San Antonio that often, like as often as I used to, because I just can't handle the traffic. It just, if I want to take a vacation and try to go to Austin, I'm already in the whole vacation wise dealing with the stress of the traffic and stuff, and it's just I can't do it.
Yeah. And I as big of a city as we live in Dallas, and it is big. I mean, it's top 10 biggest cities. The traffic, the infrastructure that we have in Dallas, not to really get off golf, but it is a little bit like golf, They have done a great job in the infrastructure on what they do traffic-wise for Dallas, because rush hour is a little bit, iffy, but it's still pretty damn good compared to here.
Yeah, so just, you know what, give me DFW all day over Austin, San Antonio, and by all means over Houston, because that's on a different level, even above Austin and San Antonio. It's horrible. So, but anyway, back to golf. And while all of the elite golfers are down there with you, Johnny, I mean, we'll count you as one of those guys.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You notice we didn't send you to the Dominican Republic, although you've played there, right? You've played this course?
Yeah, I've actually played this tournament before. It wasn't at this tournament. It used to be the Dominican Open.
Yeah.
But I haven't played this golf course. When I played it, it was at Casa de Campo. So it was we played 2 golf courses and then there was a cut, but it was still, at that time, it was part of the European tour.
Right.
So, yes. Hey, listen, you being my boss and all, I would have much rather you had me send me to Dominican than send me down to Austin for sure. But
next time we'll know.
I appreciate it. I love the Dominican. I had a great time in Dominican. I actually played pretty good, believe it or not. The last time I played in the Dominican Open and the Dominican Championship, which is surprising to me because I can usually Nancy Gerber earmuffs. I can usually get in a little bit of trouble when you get me down to some of those Latin islands down there.
See, and this is exactly why you are in Austin right now and not in the Dominican Republic, because Nancy Gerber specifically said, of course, who's the financier behind this whole operation.
He's the boss.
She said, do not send him under any circumstances farther south than Austin.
I'm glad you got that. I'm glad you got that email and set that up as the boss and the secretary both. So I appreciate that.
We got to do what Mama says, right?
That's right.
So last year down here, Chad Ramey claimed the title ahead of Ben Martin and Alex Smalley. And of course, he is back because he's not in Austin. He's trying to repeat there. If he wins again, he'll become the fourth player ever to successfully defend his title on the tour this season. Of course, Max Homa achieved that at the Fortinet Championship win, and then Rory McIlroy. Oh, God, I can't say his name ever, dude. Rory McIlroy, after he retained his CJ Cup title, and then Scotty Scheffler, who won the Phoenix Open for the second time in succession last month. Ben Martin's returning to hope to improve on that runner-up finish. Of course, no Alex Smalley this time around.
Yeah.
But Ramey isn't the only previous winner in the field. Joel Damon claimed his maiden PGA Tour win in this tournament 2 years ago. He's now the world number one, and he's kind of had a rough go at it. You know what's funny is you talk about that Netflix show. What's the name of that Netflix show?
Full Swing.
Full Swing that I still haven't watched.
Oh man, it's good. You have to watch. It'll give you some inspiration, even for you. It might make you go hit golf balls or chip and putt a little bit.
I need all the inspiration right now.
I see that.
But man, Joel Damon's got a lot of fans now, just based on that show, apparently, because I see his name all over the Twitterverse and everything about guys not even necessarily really into golf that much, talking about what big fans they are of Joel Damon. And we always have been. We've always been a fan of his. So Thomas Dietrich's the highest ranked player here at number 82. He'll be looking to take advantage of the relatively weak field to claim his first PGA Tour victory. And, even though most of the best players are down there in Austin right now, there are two major winners in this field, the 2006 U.S. Open champion Jeff Ogilvy and your 2013 PGA champion Jason Duffner. But they're currently number 1170 and number 674, respectively, in the world. So they're not really among favorites this year. But, the purse is $3.8 million, a far cry from the $20 million down in Austin. But, with the best players not here, it gives these guys, and we say it on all these alternate field events, with those guys gone, it just gives everybody else that much more of a chance to win and some guys to get their first wins. How do you see this thing playing out?
Yeah, listen, the bottom line is, there's no bad players on the PGA Tour, even though this is an alternate field event. It's a little bit different than most, because if you look at a lot of these alternate field events that normally have, like the British Open, and they will have, what's the other alternate field event? They don't have the Masters, but there's 2 or 3 alternate field events. Yeah. Usually the bigger event has a bigger field, right? So there's less guys, top 3 guys that are playing in this. But with this, without your phone going off, apparently, are they trying to get you to come down to? Are they trying to get me to come down to Dominican or what? Or late notice?
No, that's the PGA Tour wanting to know why we're only talking about the WGC. Apparently they weren't tuning in. So,
but looking at only 64 players playing in the tournament here in Austin is, you still have a lot of really good players that's really playing here. And the only non-benefit that you're not getting from this is you're not just playing. You're not going to get in the Masters if you win. Yeah. Right. So that's the only thing. But you get, you still get a lot of you still get a lot of FedEx Cup points in there. And listen, guys, it's still what's first place, like $800,000 or $900,000.
So yeah, that's what I was going to talk about next on this thing is first place gets you over $500,000 at $684,000.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the top 10, so 2 through 9, still get you over $100,000.
And that goes a long way in the Dominican. It does. I mean, there we go. Good hat. I like the hat. That about time. But
That was actually Turf Life calling, wanting to know why I didn't have their hat on.
That's it. That Terry Purdon's calling you and saying,
Terry
why
called
aren't you?
me.
What
are you doing, Tim?
But hey, listen, it's still a PGA Tour event, and it's still a great field. People who are down there watching the golf. You're going to see still great players. And to be honest with you, if I'm honest with you, I'm looking at probably 3 or 4 of these guys on this sheet, probably a little bit more. The guys that we have on our card probably should be playing in the field this week at WGC, because I'm telling you, Joel Damon, Taylor Pendrith, and Emiliano Grillo, they're better than probably 10 guys that are playing in this. They just don't have that ranking. However, they're doing the ranking. So, hey, listen, there's still a great field there at the Dominican. It's still a PGA Tour event. Looking for a great event. It's one of those places when you get down on those islands, it's a little bit like playing the Puerto Rico event. You know, it's going to be windy. If the wind blows, you're looking at guys that really want to that play well in the wind, and that grass, are playing a paspalum grass. If people don't know that's paspalum, it's a really coarse, kind of grainy grass. The ball sits up well, but it's spread out by the salt water.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a really coarse. There's it's a pretty much wide open golf course, and I'm lending to those guys that's had success there in the past. A lot of grainy greens. They know the greens. They know the way the greens break. They know some of the angles that they can cut off. So past experience is going to play a huge key when it comes to these guys having success this week.
So, yes, we talked about it being played at Corrales. It's a par 72. Tom Fazio designed course, by the way. So no rest for the weary here, as, there may be a limited or a alternate field, but the course doesn't care. It's still a Tom Fazio design, opened in 2010. It's got 6 holes running alongside the ocean. And if you like those trios of holes with daunting names, we had the Snake Pit there at Copperhead. You've got Amen Corner coming up over at in Augusta. This has the final 3 holes called the Devil's Elbow. And then, of course, the last of those forces players to carry over the Bay of Corrales. So this is a fun course to watch. I remember watching this, of course, in the past.
Yeah.
And with a lot of these guys not among the best in the world, it's even more challenging for them, which makes it even more interesting for me to watch, because I love when the course wins. We know this.
Yep.
And I think the course is going to win quite a bit. And again, we've got Chad Ramey, the defending champion, coming back. 2 other former winners, Joel Damon and Bryce Garnett. Highest ranked player in the world is Thomas Dietrich at number 82. So, a lot going on here this weekend, either between Austin or Corrales. But just a lot of golf. And I mean, I think the Corrales is probably going to get lost in a lot of this, like the alternate field events do.
Yeah.
Normally you may have tournaments, that are farther away from each other time zone wise, I think, and you may get to watch one in the morning and the other one in the afternoon. It's not too much the case here, I don't think, but I'm really going to be trying to, especially Saturday and Sunday, trying to split time between the two. And I don't really, to be honest, I'm not, depending on who's still in the WGC-Dell, I may just focus all my attention on the Corrales.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm going to be a little bit of the same way. Is once you get to the weekend here in Austin, it's WGC. You only have a handful of players that are really playing, so you're just it's going to be a little bit mundane.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, for here, but yeah, I agree with you also. I mean, I like those full field events when it comes to that with the alternate field events, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what. Yeah, I mean that like I said, I agree with you, and especially when we're going to have a bigger betting field when it comes to this for Punta Cana, and we're going to be rooting for some of these guys that potentially is going to make us a little bit more money than maybe that we're going to have over the weekend when we can only bet or root for a couple guys that we have money on. Here's a little bit of the struggle I think with WGC is once you get to the weekend is that, those matches could end pretty fast.
Yeah.
Potentially can end pretty fast. And if it doesn't, it kind of gets a little bit off. I was really surprised. I don't want to take too much off of. We'll talk about this towards the end of the show. I don't want to get too much off Punta Cana because I want to talk about it. It's a great event. is I was really shocked of how little people there were there's been this week. There's
In
no
Austin?
one. There's no one here. Like,
Well, they'll be there this weekend, though. I mean, weather's been bad. You said it was raining again this morning.
Doesn't matter, man. Today was the first round, and today's going to be the biggest field. Like, it's the biggest field the next couple of days. There was no one here. Like, no.
Yeah,
one.
but you got to think about the people that live in Austin, man. They're a bunch of hoity-toity, better than nows and holier than nows. And man, if it's raining, they don't leave their house. I guarantee if the weather's better this weekend, they'll be there Friday, Saturday.
To watch what, 4 groups?
Yeah. I mean, just to say they're there. It's like Dallas. You show up just to say you're there.
I think they're here. I think they're going to be here just because the hospitality is going to be pretty good. Like the tents and the booze and the Tito's. I mean, the owner of Tito's is here, just going around throwing around drinks. That's why they'll be here. It ain't going to be particularly because they want to watch 8 guys playing golf. The hospitality, every time that's what I will tell you about Austin is every time I've come down here, hospitality's been great, and I like the hospitality of the kind of the old school Texas people, right? Super nice. I'm not really sure I like the new people coming in from California. No disrespect to California people, please, all the California people watching the show, I love y'all, but there's a reason why
taking shots at California right there.
There's a reason why the new motto for Texas is don't California my Texas, right? So
a well-deserved motto too.
Yeah. So the hospitality for the most part has been great, but it's different. I'm with you. I'm gonna watch Punta Cana probably more than I'm gonna watch WGC unless we have, we got a lot of candy riding on somebody that potentially can win.
I mean, if my boy Homa is in it, here in the final 8 or so, I'll be in for sure. But if that doesn't happen, then I'll be all over the Corrales. Let's get into the picks a little bit here, Johnny. And I'll get into mine first. Again, my picks are for entertainment purposes only. No wagering, please, because I am not the expert. Johnny is the expert.
I'm not so sure I'm the expert anymore. I'm getting a lot of death threats and a lot of calls and things of that nature. But
you still got it. Just a soft streak here for you. The devil's chasing you just a little bit. So my picks for this weekend at the Corrales, and I hesitate to say the word Punta Cana on air because I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble.
You'll mess it up, and then we're going to lose a lot of sponsors. So I appreciate just say Corrales, and we'll stay on the air for a couple more weeks.
We'll go from there. Yeah. So my picks this weekend, I pick a winner, a top 10, and a top 20 on the normal stroke play tournaments. So this week, Johnny, at 18-1, my winner, Thomas Dietrich, at 18-1. My top 10, the guy with the weird pants and the weirder mustache, Eric Van Rooyen,
Monopoly
at
name.
plus 300.
He might not pass go. He might not collect $200 this week. I'm pretty sure.
He might not. That's a stretch for me. I even recognize that. My top 20 though. At plus 240 for the top 20, Aaron Baddeley. And I realized you have him also on your card.
That's all right.
We got another crossover here, and you got some former winners on yours too, I see here. Johnny's picks brought to you by Golf Central Magazine. Head over to golfcentralmag.com. Take a look at the March issue. Little feature of some fan stream sports stuff in there for you. It's not just a golf magazine. It's kind of a lifestyle magazine. People that are into travel and things like that. It's not like Golf Monthly or anything like that. It's an entirely different type of experience for a golf magazine. And it's head over there to golfcentralmag.com. Check it out online. It doesn't cost you a dime to check it out online. It's an amazing magazine. Get over there and check it out. We appreciate their support. Johnny, who's on your card?
Yeah, listen, I think we're going to, last week we talked about on the Monday show, we kind of chopped a little bit, made a little bit of money, lost a little bit of money. But I think this week, even though we've crossed a little bit, I kind of like what you're doing. Maybe these alternate field events, how we pick them, because I remember the last alternate field event, we actually both made some money.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe this is our deal to make some money picking these alternate field events. But man, I really feel like these top 3 guys that I picked as winners should be playing at the WGC. That being said, I'm just going to go ahead and make some money with these guys winning this week, potentially winning this week down in Corrales. And I can say Punta Cana because I'm not drinking enough like you to mess this up and mess up our sponsors. So first pick on this week on the board is Joel Damon at 20-1. Past champion, man. There's no substitute for going to a place that you've had some success, the golf course, feel comfortable, get out of some of that potentially cold weather, and just go down there and breathe and have some fun. But Joel Damon, 20-1, I love it. Taylor Pendrith, man, what do you say about this guy? There's no doubt in my mind this guy should be playing this week at WGC. He's got something to prove going down there. So at 20-1 also, we're going to put him on our card to have the opportunity to win. And Emiliano Grillo at 22-1, super success, great win player, and he's grew up on this type of grass from Argentina, man. So he knows the lay of the land there, loves the place. So look at these guys have an opportunity to win. And our ham sandwich pick this week at 60-1, Charlie Hoffman. Only thing you don't hassle the Hoff down there in Dominican Republic, man. He hasn't had good form. He's just now getting healthy. Solid ball striker, great in the wind. I'm looking at the Hoff to really get there at 60-1, have an opportunity. 2 top 10 picks this week, as always. Thomas Dietrich that you have on our cross card there at plus 185. I like him, man. I like him in the win. He's a world-class player. I really think he's got an opportunity to show what he's like. He should, again, I think this guy should be in the field this week. Really do. The only reason he's not, he's playing a lot more in the United States as opposed to playing in Europe like he normally does and not getting those points. So if he was playing in Europe like he normally does, he would be in the WGC as opposed to playing in this. But I think, again, he's got something to prove, a little bit like Taylor Pendrith does. Aaron Baddeley, plus 600 to finish in that top 10. I don't know who Aaron Baddeley is, but I know who Aaron Baddeley is.
That's what I said.
Yeah. So maybe the misspelling in his name is gonna.
Oh, that's just that. Yeah, that's autocorrect is what that is.
It's gonna piss him off enough to play well this week and jumping him in that top 10, so people maybe know his name again and we don't misspell it. How about that? So we're gonna jump back into our top 20 picks this week. I'm gonna go with last year's champion, Chad Ramey, plus 160 to finish in that top 20. Again, it's really hard to defend, man. Just some of those obligations that you have to have as a past champion that might take him away from his game. I like the way he's kind of trending a little bit. He played so well at TPC, having the second round lead. But I think he learned a little bit in that third round. That's going to carry him a little bit going into the rest of the season. So that might carry him to get in that top 20. Wouldn't surprise me if he won, but I just think maybe some of those obligations as a past champion that might hinder him from really kind of focusing on his game a little bit. In our last top 20, Bryce Garnett, past champion there, plus 300, finishing that top 20. Knows the golf course, knows the grain, knows everything about it. Hadn't really been in great form, but again, sometimes when you go to your favorite, your favorite restaurant or your favorite bar, you kind of feel comfortable, and I think that's a little bit of situation you're going to get with Bryce Garnett.
Yeah, I mean, with some previous winners in here, I don't know anything about Bryce Garnett's recent game or anything like that, or for that matter, the only thing I know about Chad Ramey is what I've seen recently, and he hadn't played horribly recently.
No, he's
been in a couple of tournaments, so it was tough for me to kind of judge all of this on a course I really know nothing about, but it's a lot of fun picking these things for sure. I love these alternate field events like we talked about earlier. It's almost more fun to watch these than it is. It's almost like watching I don't want to call it the minor leagues, but they're not the best players, so it's a roster of guys that want to be eventually on that other course on these type of weekends, but it is what it is.
Well, if you look at our picks that we have, 1, 2, 3 of our picks this week out of the 8 last year played in the WGC.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like I said, I really think Pendrith, Grillo, Thomas Dietrich are 3 of the top 100 or 3 of the top 64 players in the world. If you take out Davis Thompson, if you take out Ben Griffin, You take out some of those guys that I watched this week on the range. I'm just going to tell you, this Taylor Pendrith and Emiliano Grillo and Thomas Dietrich, they're better players day in and day out than they are. So that's why we got them on our card this week. So yeah, I love these alternate field events for a lot of reasons. It gives us, to be honest with you, it just gives us another opportunity to make some money.
Yeah,
I mean, it
absolutely.
just really does. So yeah, that's where we're at. But I want to jump into something that I know we talked a little bit of earlier, just a little bit of insight. I know we got a little bit of time here, and I want to finish up with this. And I know we've got a lot of calls with some people that, all the scrutiny with LIV golf and the PGA Tour and the status and the status of the PGA Tour going forward. And just the opportunity to go out there for this is kind of my first event as a reporter, being inside the ropes as a reporter, not as a player.
Yep.
Man, I tell you what, I've never been more impressed with a person that's a superstar in sport than Rory McIlroy. And here's where I say that is, following golf and being in golf for the majority of my life. This guy is a rock star. And now I know, having personal interaction with him the last couple of days, asking him questions, being next to him as a reporter. Now I know why that the PGA Tour and the guys around the PGA Tour and the commissioner are putting this leadership role and moving forward the PGA Tour on Rory McIlroy. I've been very blessed in my life to be around some of the best athletes in the world, some of the most iconic athletes in the world. And to be 100% honest, I've never met in person someone more impressive with people than I have with Rory McIlroy. Now, Tiger was impressed, but Tiger wasn't in his heyday of really being the top person in the world in golf or top recognized. He wasn't really good with people.
He wasn't the most approachable person, was he? Even for other tour players,
he wasn't. And the reason I say this is I kind of been down on Rory a little bit, but I watched him as afar. Watched him literally walk. I don't want to say he's Palmer-esque, but he's a little bit like Arnold Palmer. And I know everyone wants to kind of throw that moniker on Palmer that was Phil or somebody like that. But I had a really cool little ask a Rory question in the media center right before he got in the media center with him. And he literally, when he got done off the range and he got done practicing, he literally looked at everyone in the eye. And it doesn't mean, outside looking in, you don't think about it, but when you've been in kind of inside those ropes, he literally, when he didn't shake people's hands, he's just not really that way. But he looked you in the eye when he was talking to you. And when you ask him a question, he wasn't this very kind of vague answer. He looked you in the eye. And I was more impressed with him and listen, Rory McIlroy is a superstar. He is
biggest name in the game right now.
He is a superstar, and to be honest with you, he deserves that title of a superstar. And I've never. This is the first time in a long time, and maybe ever, to be honest with you. I was so impressed with him. It's really hard to explain. I'm not me, man. I'm not the type of guy. I've never been a starstruck guy. It's just really not my deal. And it wasn't being a starstruck. I was just really impressed how he handles, as much as he has on his shoulders, how he's handling the simple things. Yeah. Right. Which was more impressive, which was super impressive to me. Just how he kind of interacted and generally talked to people, whether it was, a bigger reporter than I was, a Rex Hoggard or a Todd Lewis, or it was just me. He treated everybody the same, and I was super appreciative of that. And like I said, man, the game is in great shape moving forward. If Rory McIlroy continues to be on that realm and that kind of moniker and be in that trophy of him, and I was impressed. I just want to say that, I just really want to get that out there. of how impressed of a person I was, a person he was, kind of moving forward out there, having some interaction with him. So, man,
that's awesome. We'll be watching Rory here this weekend, along with all the guys down at the Corrales. And then we will be back. Johnny will be back on Saturday, right? With your preview for the weekend and everything that's going to be happening at both tournaments. We'll be back on Monday as a show to recap the Corrales and the WGC. And then we'll be back on Wednesday to preview the Valero Texas Open down in San Antonio next week. We are From the Rough on FanStream Sports. That's Johnny and I'm Tim. And until next time, boys and girls, y'all keep hitting them straight. Today's episode is brought to you by the Highlands Performance Golf Center, North Dallas's premier golf practice facility with over 65 grass tees, 2 practice putting surfaces, a short game area, and an 18-hole mini golf course. With covered and heated tees, it's the best place to practice your game year-round. The Highlands Performance Golf Center is located in Carrollton on Trinity Mills, in between Marsh and Midway. Give them a call at 972-733-4111 or check them out on the web at highlandspgc.com.